This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com with an update on the sentencing of former WWE contracted wrestler Kyle Rasmussen, 41, a former college football player who was in WWE's FCW territory from 2009 to 2010. He was sentenced on August 9th to 153 days in prison in a plea bargain deal when he pled no contest to assault with intent to do great bodily harm, less than murder, in an incident that happened October 29, 2022 in Rochester's Hills, Michigan, according to the Wrestling Observer. He will also serve 2 years probation after being released. Apparently, he was in the back seat of a truck being driven by someone else and tried to take over the wheel, started strangling the driver while another passenger, his girlfriend, 30, managed to get out of the car and while running away was hit by another car and died. It ended up being a hit and run case. Rasmussen had played football for Michigan State. He was a bodybuilder type and was hired by WWE with no experience. And I'll tell you a personal story about this guy. Here's my WWE medical screening email. WWE actually had me riding with Kyle Rasmussen. We did our medicals together. We were both signed at the same time back in 2009. And I remember this guy was quite arrogant. He was clearly a bodybuilder guy getting signed with no experience. The funny thing was about our medicals, he was worried. He actually had to have an MRI on his knee. He had a bad knee. And after we did our medicals, I had to, since we were sharing a rental car, I had to drive him to this MRI place. And WWE is cheap. They had my fly into Pittsburgh that morning on the earliest flight, and I was supposed to leave that night to avoid having them pay a hotel. Because this guy had to have his MRI done on his knee, I missed my night flight, and I had to spend the entire night sitting in the airport in Pittsburgh. But the funny thing is, he was all worried because, again, we spent the entire day together that day. He was worried he wasn't going to get signed because of his knee. And ultimately, I ended up testing positive for Hep C at the time, which I later got cured of. But I was the one that didn't end up getting signed. And another follow-up story to that, Jeremy Prophet, I was signed from an FCW development camp that Darren Young was at, CM Punk's wife was at. I believe LA Knight was there. He was signed to development earlier on, and then they released him due to Bill DeMott issues, and he was hired back. And a few others that got signed, but Jeremy Prophet and Jinder Mahal, two of my friends from Great North Wrestling, went to the very next development camp. And here's this story about Kyle Rasmussen out of that. I guess at the next one, they took them to an FCW show, and Kyle must have had extreme heat with all the other development wrestlers. As I said, he was arrogant. And yeah, how many of these college football players that they sign with no experience actually do anything? To be perfectly honest with you, I don't like their college athlete program. It's people that don't deserve contracts getting contracts. But anyways, Jeremy and Raj told Jinder Mahal's real name is Raj. They told me at one point there was a battle royal on this FCW show, and everybody in the battle royal stopped what they were doing and chopped the hell out of this guy before throwing him out of the ring. So there's some funny stories related to that. It's sad that his girlfriend died out of that. That's insane. I mean that seems like that was random, but someone lost a life out of that. So sad situation. bizarre story, and it's just funny to think I actually spent a day with this guy who apparently went fully crazy on this day for whatever reason.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please like this video if you enjoyed it and click the